Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to my YouTube channel everybody. In today's video, we're doing another tier list with talking about James Gunn films. This past weekend, James Gunn released a new movie called Superman, starting the new DCU, and it's another addition to his filmography of now 7 movies. I believe so, if I'm not mistaken of missing a film. Oh wait, I forgot to add another movie. Hang on. I knew I was missing a film. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So, we're of course doing all this in release order, and we kick things off with James Gunn's first movie, which is Slither. So this is essentially his homage to horror movies, and before James Gunn ever did superhero movies, he did a horror movie called Slither, which starred most of the people that we know today with Nathan Fillion, Michael Rooker, and all that stuff. And essentially, it's basically about this alien that, like, goes inside Michael Rooker and basically, like, abducts him and, like, makes him into this big blob of monster. What's so interesting about what this movie does really well is it's one part of a love story, a horror film, and kind of introducing you to all the characters. Then, the next 30 minutes is like a zombie hunter film or a monster hunter film, and then the last half of it is like just trying to kill all these monsters, and it's pretty interesting. I like the cast. I think the plot is pretty good. Some of the horror is done really well, and this was also one that I actually watched today. So where am I gonna put it? I'm going to put this one in the C category. It's, as the first film with James Gunn, it's not my favorite, but for what it's worth, it is still something very good. We then have Super, which for me was the first non-James Gunn, the first non-MCU or DC film that I saw from James Gunn, and I absolutely loved it. I thought that, he was doing a superhero movie where this guy is trying to be like a superhero, and it has something to say about it. It has style, it has this, it has that, it has cruise humor. It's just all over the place, but I think that's what makes it fun. So I'll put this one in the B category as well. Then we have movie 43. So I don't know exactly if this is like a known directed James Gunn movie, because this movie is wild. Essentially, these two guys, I can't remember why they were looking this up, but they were looking up a movie that was like Code 43 or something, but it was like a really bad movie. And basically, as we're seeing through all the internet, we're like going through all these different stories and versions of these weird films that are being made on the internet, where you have like Hugh Jackman having like a balls for a throat. You have this kid who is homeschooled and his parents treat him like he's supposed to be treated like a high schooler, where he gets bullied, he gets asked to get blowjobs. I'm like, this is insane of a film. But at the same time, it's like, if you saw like certain movies on the internet like that, there's probably something out there that will be like that. Or even Chris Pratt having to shit on his girlfriend and all that. I'm like, that is insane, if I'm gonna be honest. So this movie is wild. So, but I think that's what makes it work so well. I'll put this one in the B category. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, in which this was such a fresh start to James Gunn's career, in where, of course, it was a small budget, but it was pretty big budget, as you know, he gets to build sets, he gets to have an ensemble cast, and for what it was worth, I thought he made one of the few great movies that he's made in his lifetime. Of course, this was one of the first few films where he did a comic book movie, and he introduced us to a fresh set of great new characters, from, you know, Star-Lord to Rocket to Groot to Drax and Gamora, and introduced us to brand new sections of the Marvel Universe, and also gave us a great soundtrack, made us so emotional for all these characters, and it honestly just one of the most rewatchable films, and also pretty funny films of the MCU as well. So I'm putting this one in the A tier. Then we get Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and while I don't think this one is as good as the first film, I would still say that is a very entertaining sequel to the first Guardians. And as I was kind of thinking about it, I'm like, this is probably at first, this is probably my least favorite James Gunn movie, but then Slither came along, and it kind of is the only film that fits in that category. But Guardians 2 did something that I thought really worked for me, that if you kind of go back to the past few years of the MCU with like all the stuff that it's been doing, this one kind of, and especially with what Guardians 3 did, this one just kind of does something a lot different, that you look back on it and I'm like, is this really one of the fewer better films? No, because it actually has a lot of James Gunn style. It has a lot of great character moments. It has a great soundtrack. There's a lot of few cool action set pieces, especially with Yondu and the Yakko arrow scene. And I really loved the relationship between Yondu and Rocket in the film. And I liked the stuff with Peter and his dad, and realizing his family was actually there all along with the family he made along the way. I thought that was great. It's a few bit cartoonish, and the stuff that Ego happens to do to his, I guess, adopted siblings is pretty dark, but I don't know if it worked well enough, so I'm going to put this one in the B category. Then we have the Suicide Squad, and for most people, this is where James Gunn kind of erected something, to where basically he crafted, this was essentially the greatest starting point for his career, and like everybody just fell in love with him at this point. Hang on. And I can actually understand why everybody feels that way. That James Gunn brought in, you know, a new type of style to do a comic book movie. But also, you know, he got fired by Disney. And so, you know, he had to come in and make a new, and he got to let his flavor go in, to where it was able to introduce us to a bunch of great new characters, such as Peacemaker and Rick Flag and Bloodsport and Harley Quinn and King Shark and Polka Dot Man. And at the same time, you're able to have all these incredible practical stunts and action sequences, but include CGI in there, and it's able to go full comic booky, but also you're able to care about all the characters and emotions, stuff for that. It does go a little too far when it comes to deaths. I feel like at some points it's like they make certain deaths a little dramatic, but at the same time it's like, this movie has way too much killing in the movie. And then the Starro stuff I didn't really care about, and the fact that we're kind of killing civilians, because it's like, it's not like they're zombies or vampires, so you could have easily just blasted the starfish off their face and they'll be fine. I think the main objective should have been just defeating Starro, and because you're like, you want to save the world, but you're killing innocent people that could possibly be, you know, saved. But I don't know, I was a little bit weirded out by that, but I think overall James Gunn added a lot of great style with this, and I overall really dug it. So I'm going to put this one in the B category as well. As to where exactly, I'm gonna put it right there between here. That's how good it's gonna go. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which a lot of people really got impacted by James Gunn with the Suicide Squad. For me, it was Guardians 3 for that, where obviously this is a finale film to the franchise, to a trilogy of films. I don't care. To me, Guardians 3 is one of the best films I've ever seen in my life, and there was just something so fantastic about it. So we're putting an 8 here. That the fact that we're able to put so much emotion into this, so much depth into it, that we have all these established arcs and we're able to care about them so much. We have character transformations and now some characters are unrecognizable, like Nebula. We have villains that we absolutely hate in this movie, such as High Evolutionary. And at the same time, it's able to keep the heart. It's able to make you laugh out loud. It's able to make you almost cry your eyes out. And then at the same time, it's able to be victorious and have you on the edge of your seat with all the action sequences. And I'm like, this is the film where I feel like, yeah, James Gunn did not only just reach the peak in what this franchise could have became, but he also reached the peak of what his filmmaking could become. And I'm like, this was just a masterpiece of film. And honestly, I haven't seen any other movie come close to what Guardians 3 has become, to what Guardians 3 is. So, I absolutely loved Guardians 3. And finally, we have Superman, a very different film from James Gunn. And I thought that this was an absolute great James Gunn movie, and it was a great film of his filmography. And it is going to go in the A tier. Just the big question is, do I like it better than the first Guardians? It's obviously not better than Guardians 3, because I don't think anything can touch Guardians 3. But as of right now, I'm putting it in the A category. I think it is a phenomenal film. There's a few flaws in the world building and stuff like that, but I think David Gordon Sweat is a great Superman. A lot of the action and score is great. I like some of the new characters, especially Mr. Terrific. I like Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I like Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. And yeah, it's a great film about kindness being punk rock. So I love that. Also, Supergirl in the ending was also really cool. So that is my overall thoughts on James Gunn's movies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.